Going. So, what's up, everybody? This is going to be episode 2. I got Mitch here again. Had 2 guests. Neither of them can make it, but we're hoping for next week. Um, and yeah, that's about all the housekeeping out of the way. How you doing, Mitch?
I am good. I had some airsoft yesterday and had Easter today, so just hanging out, chilling, ready to go to work tomorrow.
Have you off not on the topic of airsoft, starting off, but have you got your shot yet?
I have not.
So I got it yesterday, and
You're alive, right?
yeah, I'm alive. I got it yesterday, and I went in, and the lady at the Walgreens was like, "All right." She listed, I think, the symptoms. She was like, "All right, well, hang around for 15 minutes." I did not. I got up and left like after 2 minutes of waiting. I was very impatient. I was like, I'm gonna go to McDonald's, and if I die, I die. um, but no, she was like, the symptoms or side effects could be like chills, headache, muscle soreness, and just general tiredness. And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, they've been saying that for forever now, and from what I've heard, most people are fine. So I go to work. So I work the night shift later that day, and over the course of like 8 hours, I literally just get all of the symptoms or all the side effects. So I'm
Oh,
just like,
really?
I'm sitting there at work, I'm shivering, I feel like shit. Yeah, and they literally within the last 2 hours, I've kind of returned to normalcy. But yeah, there's a good like 12 hours where I just felt horrible.
Well, you're in the healthcare field, so is that something that's like required, or is it just something you wanted to do?
It's not required yet. I guarantee it's gonna be once it opens up. Once there's enough where literally anyone can get one, right? Um, Funnily enough, the guy when I called Walgreens to schedule the vaccine appointment, they told me to bring my work ID, right? So I did, because normally I wouldn't qualify for one unless I had brought that with me.
Mm.
And I showed up, and first of all, I showed up and like, oh well, can we see your insurance card? And I was like, well, sure, I guess. Isn't it free? Like, and they're like, oh yeah, we just need to check your insurance. And I have a really old health insurance card. I like never go to the fucking doctor, pretty much. Like, in the last 2 years, maybe I've gone once. Um, and I handed it to them, and they're like, this card's out of date. And I was like, well, I wasn't told that I needed that. But I have my work ID here, and they're like, no, just it'll be fine. And so yeah, I clearly did not bring the things that were required, but no one told me otherwise.
Well, you know, I don't want to just get it right away. And like, I know there's been a lot of like testing and development, and it's taken a little bit, but I'm kind of one of those people where I'm gonna kind of wait a little bit and kind of let it circulate, make sure that mass amounts of people have it and they receive it and it's okay. And I know a lot of people have been getting it and it seems like it's okay and safe, but I'm kind of one of those people that's going to wait a couple years and just make sure that,
A couple
all the
years.
research. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think this is going to be one of those things where it's going to be another vaccine that you're going to get. Like when you have a kid or whatever, you get like polio, vaccine, and you get
Tetanus. Yeah, that's
measles,
yeah.
yeah, like all that stuff. And I think for the future, I think this is going to be another one of those vaccines. Like, oh yeah, are you getting your standard COVID shot too? Okay, yeah. Same thing with measles and polio and whatever. So, I'm kind of waiting and seeing how everything pans out. But I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, see, as a single man, I had to get it because it's very hard to convince someone to go out on a date with you that's and be like, oh no, I could kill you. Like,
That if you're going on a date with somebody, the least I would be concerned about is you giving them COVID.
I mean,
I'd be looking at you a little bit differently in all other aspects.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if I told you, I had it once. I actually missed a Milsim West event because I got it, and it made me very angry. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it was must have been late October, early November, because I was my 21st birthday was gonna pass while I was at Milsom West. Um, so I was gonna go there and afterwards get super drunk with probably Velo and a couple whatever other friends showed up, right?
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, the day before we were gonna leave, I was like, huh, or no, 2 days before we were gonna leave, I was like, I kind of have a head cold, I got a stuffy nose and a headache. And being doing the right thing, I immediately told Velo and the other guy that I was going to be carpooling with. I was like, I'm going to get tested. I don't think it's a big deal.
Turns out it was a big deal.
Yeah, the next day I get tested, and they're like, all right, it could take up to a couple days for us to give you your results. And as I was leaving to drive home, apparently they called me like 10 minutes later and told me I was positive. and, uh,
Wow.
and so yeah, and then I was like, well, fuck. And I didn't feel sick, very sick then. Like I said, just kind of a stuffy nose and a headache. But I don't know. I was out for like probably a full week. I watched all of Narcos while I was sick, every single
Oh,
episode.
very nice.
Yeah, um, that's a good show. I like that show.
Yeah, I watched them all too. Well, the thing is,
I haven't seen the
what was it?
Mexico series. I've heard the Mexico series is kind of bad, comparatively at
Well,
least.
yeah, so after um well, what was it? Season 3, was it? Where
They got rid
why
of the
can't that
white guy, right?
No, no, no. I can't think of his name. Who's the guy, the cocaine drug lord's name? I can't think of his name.
Pablo Escobar.
Yeah, Escobar, thank you. Yeah, after, he kind of got written off from the show, if you already seen it, you know what happens. After that,
Well, I
it
don't think it's a
kind of got
spoiler. I mean, he
weird.
he died. Everyone knows
Yeah, well, yeah, everyone knows he
that.
died, but
Yeah.
I didn't want to say that. I mean, obviously it's history,
Yeah.
but yeah, after it kind of got a little weird. I think they could have stretched it out farther, and that should have been like the climax of the series, instead of kind of like that was like it was like middle. Well, I don't want to say middle. It was kind of like
Yeah, because at the
three
end,
fourths.
yeah, because at the end of season two, they killed Pablo Escobar, and then
Yeah,
season
yeah.
three, they were going after these other dudes, and the white dude with the mustache left. He
The
parted
white
ways.
dude with the
I forget
mustache.
his name. In fact, I forget the other dude's name as well. The guy that plays the Mandalorian.
Yeah, I know
Pedro
who you're talking
Pascal.
about, but yes,
That's the
yeah.
one. Yeah. No, yeah, they had season three. I watched probably like 30 minutes of it, and they have the guy from Ant Man, the Mexican dude that's like fucking I don't know the main actor from Ant Man, but he's like his
I know who you're
sidekick.
talking about.
Yeah, yeah, that one. For one, I smoke a lot of pot, and like the very beginning of the very beginning of season three was like marijuana is a gateway drug. Um, at least for this story, it has to be. And I was like, no, no, I'm not gonna watch it. And yeah, whatever. I forget what we were talking about before we got onto Narcos. Oh, me being sick. Yeah, so I slept for like 18 hours a day while I had COVID. Like it was literally like symptoms weren't so bad. I had a killer headache, but other than that, I was pretty okay. I could have gone out and done stuff if I needed to. Obviously, I didn't. But yeah, I just like literally I'd be up for like 6 hours every day. The rest of it I would sleep.
Yeah, I mean, it was never confirmed that I had it, but I knew I had it because I had went out to the bar last year, and my one of my buddies who I was with, he actually did go and get tested, and told me like, yeah, I tested positive, and we were talking and shouting at each other, and there's a bunch of other people, and so I pretty much knew because I've never actually had like a cold in my life.
Wait, for real?
Um, Yeah, I've never had like the flu. I've never had a cold. Like that
You
has never
are
happened in
a
my life.
lucky son of a bitch. Oh my god. I got
Yeah,
I got the flu one time in high school and I was sick for 2 weeks. Like it sucks. It's horrible.
yeah, and it's never happened to me. So when I was having cold sweats and like flu-like symptoms, I knew like something was up. And so, my buddy got tested. He was positive. I basically quarantined for 2 weeks. But it was rough the first basically 48 hours for me. With cold sweats. It was hard to, sleep and everything. But then kind of after that, it was like kind of like fine. I just kind of recuperated or whatever. But the interesting thing is, um, a little bit like a month before that, my boss had actually got COVID and said and everything. And I was asking him like, you know, what do they do for you? Because I had heard that they just kind of send you home and just say don't talk to anybody or don't see anybody, quarantine. And he had told me like, yeah, like they didn't give me any medicine, they didn't tell me what to do or anything. They said literally just go home and stay home. And so, that's essentially what I did. But it was kind of strange because I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just sit at home, for 14 days and not do anything because that's what the doctors are telling people to do.
And just
So
out of
essentially,
curiosity,
that's what I did.
were you working from home at the time, or did you have to go
Yeah, I
in?
was.
Okay. So did you quarantine inside? Because I know you're married. Did you quarantine inside your house, or did you just kind of live life normally and nothing bad happened?
Yeah,
I guess.
well, yeah, I mean, we were both in the house. I mean, we both believe we had
Oh,
it.
okay,
So
okay.
it was, yeah, it wasn't, well, that's the thing. Like even like my boss, he actually had it, but he was like quarantined in like one specific, like in the basement,
That's
away from the rest of his family. So for him, it was like, he actually did like stay in the basement, for the whole 2 weeks or whatever. But no, for me, I was just in my house like normal.
yeah. And I forgot it was 2 weeks. Fuck, that was a long ass time. I heard something the other day where they said that there's gonna be like serious repercussions to the lockdown. Like people are gonna have trauma and not know what it's from because we're social creatures and being locked up for a year kind of fucks with that.
I mean, it was for me. It was more like I can stay at home all the time, but like it was more like just like the basic activities. Like if you wanted to go to Top Golf or you wanted to do something else like that, it was like kind of like all closed down. So it was really like all of the essential things. Like you could go out and get food, but like really anything else like drinking or going to the bar or anything like that was really like locked down. So it kind of made you feel like you know
Yeah.
you were in a simulation, just getting food, coming home, whatever.
I'm curious how you feel on this. What do you think about the vaccination cards? Because they require those for travel now, and they're talking about going further with it. So like,
Uh,
I'd be carrying like a second ID in my wallet that says I've been vaccinated, and
yeah, I'm not a fan. I mean, it gets kind of, uh it gives me off the like okay, here's the thing. Like I know like, in the 21st century, it's like there the goal of that is to just kind of like I don't know, like try to return everything to order and it is like a disease or whatever that spreads, so um you know uh but it kind of reminds me of like mid Germany around the
yeah,
1930s.
I was gonna say, maybe they should just give us all yellow armbands with a little star on it, you know?
Yeah, with numbers on her hands. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't get over that, and it's one of those things where it's like I don't really want the government tracking my stuff, and I'm not one of those weirdos that wears tinfoil on his head, but I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, it's funny because as really most of the free world, we lost the battle against Big Brother before we even realized it started. Like the Patriot Act and all that stuff. Uh, to where now it's at a point where they if they wanted to, they know where exactly where I live. They know where you live. They know what we do in our free time, right?
Mhm.
But anyways, we've spent 15 minutes on COVID. Let's talk a little airsoft, I suppose. Um, so how was Legacy? You said there was a little drama.
Yeah, I mean,
Come
I'll
on,
kind of
drama gets views.
yeah, I'll kind of preface this what I'm about to say by saying there there are specific airsofters that I kind of don't get along with.
Yep.
Most of the normal people, and here's the thing, there's regular people who I get along with who, whatever, they don't call their hits or whatever, then you full auto them and then they get pissed off, like that stuff happens all the time in airsoft. But, um, there's a certain, really, it's like speed softers, I really just don't get along with speed softers. It's just, and if you're a speed softer and like, you're like a cool guy, or like, you call your hits, you play the game, whatever, I'm cool with that. But for some reason, speed softers always think that if they're running, they can't get hit.
Yeah, we
So
we touched on this on the first one. They kind of just, and I don't know if it's always on purpose. Maybe it's the adrenaline of sprinting around, but yeah, it's definitely an issue.
yeah, so I mean, Legacy was fun. It was their opening weekend, and I do like that now they do Saturdays and Sundays instead of just Sundays. So, and also, Sunday was Easter, so I think there were more people that showed up, um, for Saturday. But apparently it was booked at 50 people. I guess they can't have more than 50 people right now. And so it was max capacity Saturday, yesterday. And so, I had fun. It was great. Right off the bat, it's like 10:45. It's the first game, and we're playing on Sanctuary. And basically, it's kind of like a foresty map. And I'm coming. I'm kind of going around the map. They did like a three-team match, so it was like us four versus another four versus another four. And so, one of the speed softers that was there comes around the corner, and I hit him a couple times, and he claimed that I didn't hit him. Now I didn't actually see, I don't know for sure that I hit him or not, but I kind of shot my gun a few times, and I'm pretty sure I hit him at least once. And he's these guys are kids, so I'm a little bit older. And so he kind of hits me, and like I said, I believe I hit him. And so then I kind of looked at him, because at the time I was confident that I did hit him, and I kind of looked at him like, "You're not gonna call your hit," because most of the time, um, you kind of exchange fire with somebody and you hit each other around the same time. You kind of both go like, "Okay, nice shot," and you guys kind of both call your hits and walk back. But he kind of hit me as I was hitting him, and he, it was like, "You didn't hit me," and basically, he started, yelling at me, and like, just saying like, "Oh, you're not gonna call your hit," as he's still playing. And then he's like, "I'm gonna tell the ref on you," and he was just like going off on me and blah blah blah. And as he was still playing, and so I was just staring at him. I didn't even say anything to him. And he's like saying all this stuff like, "You're not gonna call your hits," and kind of looked at him and was like, and I said over to him, I said, "No, I'm just saying how you talk to me." So, I'm like, I guess you could say I'm old school, but I'm kind of like, uh, I want, you're playing airsoft, but it's like you kind of respect each other. And, he obviously just like didn't care about, trying to like respect anybody. So that's kind of what I look at when I'm airsofting with people, and how I judge them if they're a cool person. So, but yeah, I mean, it happens. And, him and the rest of his crew were kind of, um, acting all the same. And later on, some of the other people that we were playing with got sick of their shit too. So we kind of lit them up in the later rounds of the day. So we had fun at the end of the day.
So I think in between the last episode, and this one was also when we went to PBX, right? This 22nd was last time we recorded an episode. I think so.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun day. If anyone who's listening doesn't know, they closed all the second stories on at Paintball Explosion, so there's no second stories on any of the buildings now, which kind of sucks in some aspects. In other ways, like for example, Vietnam I think is a bit more balanced now that you can actually push up and just not get shot down the hill from the sniper towers. Were you there for that game?
Um, yes, when we played
The embassy game or whatever?
Embassy, yes.
Now, at one point, I don't know if I was on your team, they switched me around once that day. But, now, what you were saying earlier about the being kind of old school and just kind of letting things slide, I can't say I am the same. Because, like, if I get in a close quarters engagement and I shoot somebody and I don't feel myself getting hit, I did not get hit. Uh, unless, like, generally in close quarters, like, even if I have my, I don't wear real plates, I wear foam plates, and you can feel it, or it's at least an audible noise at close quarters. There was one time I don't know if I've told this on the pod before, but there was one time I went to Black Ops Airsoft with the Velo and a couple of his Russian dudes. And they were all in Russian kits, and I literally went out there in like black army shorts and a t-shirt and ran around with my machine gun. Um, and I was like, and that's kind of the same thing I did at Red Dawn because I was like, I have 2,500 BBs in my box mag. I don't need to carry anymore.
That is true.
And there's apparently they've closed the tunnels since then. Have you been to Black Ops? I'm sure you have,
I
right?
I
Yeah.
have actually, yeah.
Have you
Um,
been there since they put the tunnels in?
the tunnels were open when we went.
Okay. Yes, my
And
memory's shit. I know you went with me. I don't know why I asked that. But apparently they're closed as of right now. And I'd have to
oh, as of right now.
yeah, as of like last
Okay.
week. Um,
Why
uh,
is that? Are they
no,
doing construction?
no idea. My guess would be it's just far too slippery, or maybe there's flooded or something along those lines. I'm sure it's a temporary thing.
Mm.
But anyways, yeah, I when I went there, I ran with my LMG. First thing we did, they opened up the forest that day, and for whatever reason, airsofters just love to go immediately to where they see buildings instead of running around in the woods. Um, which that's just something I've
Eh.
noticed. Um, so me and all those Russian guys literally just were like, all right, we're just gonna go slightly into the woods and then walk to their spawn, and it worked. And we just walked to their spawn and then spawn trapped them for a while, and then they started screaming at us, so we left quickly before they could figure out who it was. But the story I was trying to get to is after that, later in the day, there was a bunch of bad guys in the tunnel, and I just purposely put myself like, what was it like? It was either 10 or 20 feet away. I forget. I haven't played there in a while. I don't remember the MED. But anyways, I was far enough away to where it was legal to shoot them, and I just kind of slowly pied the tunnel and just sprayed the entire thing down with BBs. And I hit a dude like 8 times, and he was like, "What the fuck, bro? I totally hit you." And I looked at him, and I was like, "Do you see what I'm fucking wearing? I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt. I would have felt it. It's fucking pathetic." Oh no, he actually called me pathetic, and I was like, "What? What did you say?" Then he walked off, and one of the refs came up to me, and he was like, "Yeah, that guy's wasn't calling his hits earlier, and he's kind of an asshole. So don't mind him. You're good. Keep playing."
Well, the thing is, like, if you miss somebody, and you don't get hit, it's kind of like whatever, you know what I mean? Like it's whatever. But if you're playing with somebody who is like not calling their hits and you hit them and they're doing stuff like that, that's where it's like, okay, come on, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think most of the people we know, um, especially people on the team, are just honest players. We call our hits. I mean, it's no fun. I mean, it's a game of skill at the end, right? It's how far can you lob your BBs and can you lob them accurately, as well as running and shit like that, right? If you miss, you miss. I mean, that's your fault, right? It's like playing a video game. Um,
Well, and the thing is that the way I play is if I see like if somebody's right around the corner, they turn the corner on me, and like I've had somebody who has turned the corner on me, and like I couldn't react to turn and shoot them in time, and they shot blanks at me, like
Yep.
the it was literally a blank, and I called myself out anyways because I'm like, okay, like I know you're shooting blanks, but like you're this close to me, I was unsuspected, whatever. I'm just gonna call myself out. Like this is kind of my mentality. Really, I could just say, hey, your gun didn't fire anything, so now I'm gonna kill you. But that's just kind of the way I play.
Yeah, actually, when we were at PBX, I went into that bumper car house, and there was a guy who pushed up on me. Um, Actually, no, I pushed on him, and he like had a pistol of some sort, like a green gas high cap, but the standard whatever
Hmm.
kid runs nowadays. And I just pushed up on him and shot him. Or no, I think I bang killed him at that point. But regardless, he was like, "Did I not shoot you?" And I was like, "There, no." And I was like, "Maybe check your gun. Maybe it's not firing, but you did not hit me." And for the most part, people were like, "Oh, well, shit, okay," and then they go and respawn, right? Um, I've had that happen to me before. Where, you run out of ammo and you pull, especially with AEGs. There's no, the gun doesn't stop shooting when you're out of BBs, and sometimes when shit's going on, it's hard to hear that little audible difference of shooting BBs and not shooting BBs, right? At least in
Yeah,
my
well, I don't have
experience.
that issue with my Firehawk, but
Oh, right.
yeah. Um, yeah, I mean my AUG is sometimes like that. Of course, that's when I'm running mid caps. Normally I have my drum mag, so I pretty much never run out of ammo. But yeah, with my AUG, if I'm running the mid caps, you can. Sometimes it's hard to hear the different sound when there's no, you know, BBs being cycled in.
All right. Well, we're gonna move on here. Um, we talked about it a little bit before the show about kind of. I'm trying to think of how to word this so it makes sense, right? Um, like if you had all the knowledge you have now of airsoft and you were starting from a fresh slate, what would be your first purchase?
Yeah, I'm gonna say a face mask.
Really? Did you?
I do not want my teeth getting knocked out, and I've seen it happen. Um,
Yeah, you know
but
me.
Uh, I'm sure you're referring to guns or equipment or gear or something,
Just,
though.
just anything in general, whatever pops into your head, I suppose.
Yeah.
I
Um.
instantly went to guns, but to each their own.
Well, I think like the most, it kind of doesn't answer your question, but I'm also gonna half answer it. So the thing is, what I've learned is that you really got to actually go out there and play first, because there's going to be things that you know you don't expect. Oh, hey, that was annoying that I had to do that, or like I didn't realize these glasses were going to fog up so much, or whatever, or I didn't realize this gun was going to shoot this way. So I would, from just playing and just going out there and doing it, I would just really listen and feel how your gear, equipment, your guns are firing, everything is working. Because a lot of people will kind of just buy a bunch of stuff and just be like, okay, I'm good, I got all this stuff. um, but you really got to go out there and play and do all that stuff. From a personal standpoint, I just, with my AUG and my drum mag, I mean, it saves me a lot of trouble. I just hate reloading. I hate carrying all the mags. I mean, so I've really liked the drum mags with my guns. But other than that, I just like to be unique. So I like to have something that other people don't have.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. Going with my answer, and mine is going to be a gun, obviously. I mean, face mesh is a good recommendation, I suppose. I don't wear any teeth protection. I haven't for years. Um, Never had
Ugh,
any problems.
you're lucky.
but I don't like run around with my mouth open like a retard. So, but no, I really have discovered through playing airsoft, and it kind of has to go with that not reloading thing. But I like big guns that shoot a lot of BBs, and I initially bought my 249, which we were talking about a little bit earlier. But I think I would change. And if I was to go back in, not saying the one I have is the A and K 249. It's $349. Actually 360. Sorry. Um, I mean it's not a cheap gun, but it's not enormously expensive. But I think if I were to go back in, I would save up and buy a PKM. Excuse me. Um, and yeah, they're heavier, they're much longer, but the box mag on a PKM holds 5,000 BBs. Uh,
Jesus.
so I mean, that's I could play for 2 or 3 games without having to reload, right? I mean,
Yeah, well, that extra weight is a lot, but I mean, if you just got, your gun and your drum mag, I mean, you don't gotta you don't gotta do nothing.
yeah, yeah, and the cool thing about that PKM actually, the A and K one, the 249 does not have this option, but on that one you can actually there's like if you take off the like the wood grips underneath it, there's 2 buttons and you can choose what fire rate you want to shoot at.
Oh wow.
Yeah, which my state of mind would always be just the fastest all the time, right? But I could assume there's people that because when you shoot faster, you get more hit probability, right? In my opinion, at least. I guess you could conserve ammo by shooting slower, but I almost never have a problem with running out of ammo nowadays. I either run an AK with a drum mag or a 249. I just run drum mags, honestly. Uh,
Well, speaking of rounds per second, at Legacy, I just brought my Firehawk for yesterday, and they is the first time I've been somewhere where they actually tested the rounds per second, and it was way off.
it was too
And at
fast.
first, yeah, well, no, the thing is, my Firehawk did have a lot of work done to it, that just was recent, and when they measured it, because I've never been asked to measure the rounds per second before at any field, and um, they asked me to measurement, and when they did it, it said 50, and I was like, I knew there was some work done to it, but I was like, there's no way it's going to be 50 rounds per second. I mean, that's insane. And um, my buddy tested his, and it would said he actually just bought a Vector, which is pretty cool. But they said it was like 40 for his, and I'm like, there's no way that, and it was completely stock, and I was like, there's no way that our guns are hitting that high. Which later they found out there's some issue with the chrono.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, I mean, that is also something else I was gonna say is, um, if you do find a gun that you like, and like, hey, this is the gun for me, this is the weight, this is everything that I like, throw a little bit of money into it, to make it, just pristine and just everything you want it to be. You want to put a Prometheus barrel, you want to, you know, put some new bucking in there, hop up system, gate tighten, whatever you want to do, make it yours, and make it last. So that's something else that I would kind of say. If you know you want what you want to shoot, just upgrade that gun so you can kind of have a better time with it out in the field.
yeah. So just to go back, just backtrack a slight bit. Originally, I saw this question asked on I think it was U.S. Airsoft's like YouTube channel through a post, and I read through the comments just a little bit to see what people were saying, and like 70% of it was, you know, the first thing I would buy would be a dye I5 mask, that speed softer paintball mask that they all wear,
Yeah,
and they're
yeah.
like, there's nothing more comfortable, nothing that doesn't fog more, and I was like, I have a $70 pair of goggles that I've had for 4 years and don't fog. Man, like I think even with what we're saying, take everything with a grain of salt, right? And neither of us are speed softers, so I think we both. I would not wear a paintball mask to go play airsoft, personally speaking. Um,
I wouldn't either.
but I know there's people that do. Like the couple guys on one of the other teams I'm on. Um, they love speed soft. That's what they do. One of them has it literally looks like a paintball gun. It has the big old blade trigger on it. Um, very colorful, and he runs it with a drum mag. Funnily enough, actually, his name's Finn. I'll probably have him on at some point. He's a very cool guy. We both went to paintball explosion same day, and literally I came around a corner and saw him, and he saw me. We both started shooting, and both of our box mags weren't feeding, so we were just looking at each other from like 12 feet away, trying to get our box mags to feed. And he started like rolling to the left because he was proned out, trying to get away, and my box mag was low on batteries and dying. So I was like, just give me a few. And eventually, he shot me. But yeah, it's hilarious.
Oh, good.
But yeah, no, I think another topic I was gonna bring up is you've had a chance, both me and you, to play at most of the Chicagoland area fields, right? And
Yeah.
we'll throw events in there as well, I suppose, just because it gives us a little more diversity. What's your favorite place you've played at? And you're gonna say Legacy, I know, but
I mean, I am gonna say legacy. But you know, okay. So here's the thing. So I am gonna say legacy, and the thing is, because it is closest to me, which is like a big part of it. But I really do like the fields. I don't like Omen or Cemetery. That's one of the only fields I don't like. But I mean, you're talking about Carnage, which is kind of like a junkyard field, and you're talking about Wasteland, which is a really cool field. There's they have a lot of fields that I really like, but I do like some of the other places. I mean, like Black Ops is fun. PBX actually is really cool too. And I think you're gonna say PBX, but even like Power was cool. And
yeah,
I've been to Sherwood Forest. Um, I don't know if that's the actual name of it.
it is. Yeah, it's Pandora's Box at Sherwood Forest. Yeah,
Yeah, sure. Okay, yeah. So, and also, Red Dawn was at uh,
Badlands or was it Blast Camp?
Badlands.
Okay.
Yeah, that was at Badlands, and I've also been to Blast Camp too because that's where Conflicts was, which I like Badlands too. Um, or sorry, Blast Camp too. So I'm gonna say Legacy, but I really do like a lot of the fields.
Yeah, that Power was interesting before it shut down. Well, the place is open for like I think less than a year.
Really, I thought it was there for a while before they closed.
No, they maybe it was just over a year, but somewhere around a year is how long they were open. Yeah,
Wow. Well, I'm glad I got to go there.
yeah. I mean, the first time I went there, I was like, you know what? I know there's going to be speed softers there, so I'm going to make them all very mad. So I went and I changed the spring out on my primary at the time, which was a Mark 18 like Milsim rifle, and just went there in my entire like Milsim kit and shot the shit out of them, and it was hilarious. um, actually, yeah, the first time I went there, I don't want to say it was a fight, but there was a little bit of physical contact. Where the last game of the day, and I've told Mitch this story before because it's up there in my airsoft moments, right? Last game of the day, they're like, "All right, we're gonna split the field into two," and they had like a net in the ceiling that would split the place into two. And I know Mitch has been there. If you know that left side of the field where they have the cars and whatnot,
Yes.
yeah. So basically, that was one side, and where that kind of tunnel in the middle is where it cut off just past that. And they literally just threw all of the rental people on that side and me. So was everyone else there was like their first time playing airsoft. Um, it like got to a point where I'd run up and I'd be like, they'd be like, 8 people standing there. I'm like, oh, this is your spawn. Okay, I'll leave. Like, um, but there's another hilarious moment where there's a bunch of kids and they all had rental rifles, and what I noticed they were doing, like 5 minutes in, is that if I came around a corner pretty quick, like aggressively, they would flinch. And for whatever reason, these kids were like a lot of the times like one-handing their rifles and they were just shooting the floor, right? and
Oh
so
God.
so I was like, all right, well, if I just run up to them, they're probably gonna miss their first shot, and I won't. And literally, they have this little like very slightly elevated kind of little building that was in there, if you remember that, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And I was pushing up to that, and there was a kid in there, and he shot me once through the window, missed. I put a few rounds at the window and immediately sprinted towards the side door. And as I'm going around to the side door, the kid, like, I don't know if he stumbled down the stairs, but he literally just fell into me as I was pushing him. And there's no MED at that place, and I was kind of adrenaline's pumping, and the way he fell onto me, my barrel was just sticking into his chest. So as he fell, I pulled my trigger a few times as he fell into me, and shot him. And I kind of stood over him as because he after all that, he fell down. He started to reach for his gun, and I was like, "I shot you. You're dead." And I was literally pointing my gun at him while he was on the ground. He was like, "Okay, okay, okay." There was another time when I was same day, where I came around a corner, and apparently, so from what I've gathered afterwards, apparently two of them were dead and walking back to respawn, and there was three people that were alive. I didn't know this at the time, so I came around the corner and saw like, sorry, 1 second. Yeah, so going a little off topic, the reason I had to go off, we had a Comcast called us today, or yes, like 2 days ago, and said like we're committing copyright infringement. Apparently, somebody in the house
Oh yeah.
illegally downloaded Black Ops 3. So I went through all of the computers in the house, and I was like, all right, nobody has Black Ops 3. I don't know what the fuck's going on. None of us have ever bought it. It's not on any of our computers. Uh, and come to find out, Razer had done an auto update and added drivers for Black Ops 3, and Comcast thought because of because I downloaded files that had the word Black Ops 3 in it that wasn't from like Activision or whatever that we were pirating.
Oh wow.
So it's been a bit of a deal. But anyways, I come around the corner. There's five people there, and I think one of them has their hands up. One of them is has his back turned to me. And at this point, I had dropped my rifle and I was just running around with my Glock. And they didn't shoot me as soon as I came around the corner. They were just kind of looked scared. Because at this point, the game had been going on for like 8 minutes, and I had just been destroying them single handedly for. I got like 50 kills in that like 20-minute game. It was absurd. Uh,
Wow.
and I come around the corner, and they're all just kind of standing there, and like a couple seconds pass, and I just start pointing my pistol at each one individually, like rapidly changing targets and kind of yelling like, "Who's dead? Who's alive?" Right? And they just all walked back. Every single one of them walked back to their respawn. Uh, they didn't try to shoot me. They just like, and I don't. Maybe I was a dick for yelling, but the adrenaline gets pumping when you're playing airsoft. So occasionally you yell, right? I wasn't being mean to them, and after the game, I was like, "Sorry for destroying you guys. I play a lot of airsoft. Hope you still had fun today." Right?
Hey, shitting on the rentals.
Yeah. Speaking about PBX, you know how Sarge, when we were there, pretty much every time. I don't know if he said that while we were there. Um, I don't listen to the safety briefing anymore. I've been there like 60 times, right? I know word for
Mhm.
word. I could repeat it in unison with him. Um, but pretty much every time he's like, "And these rentals here, they're the future of airsoft. Take them under your wing and whatnot." And I've probably tried to do that maybe 10 or 12 times. Um, just doesn't work.
It just doesn't work.
like there'll be times where I'll be running like especially like bumper car house, right? Only way to take bumper car house on that map is to be aggressive and fight in close quarters, right? You can't stand outside of there and kill everyone. It's not. I mean, you can, but you're probably gonna die, and it's not nearly as effective as taking it, right? Because it's dark in there, and looking inside, they have the advantage. They can clearly see you, and they might be a little, you know, shadowed when you're looking in.
Yeah.
But anyways, there was this kid that was just like for the entire game just sat at the door leading into the house, and like every single time I was like, come on, we gotta go in there. You're not gonna shoot any bad guys with your back against a wall like 50 feet away from where everything's happening. and I guess they're scared, right? Which I don't know. I can't relate personally, but
Well, I mean, it's good to have, rental people. I mean, most of the time they're kids, but it's kind of cool that, there's places for, these kids to come out and play because, when I mean, there were no airsoft places when I first got into airsoft. I mean, you literally took your friends out to, like we used to actually airsoft next to a cemetery, but it's a story for another day. But yeah, I mean, we would just go out to the forest preserves or whatever and just shoot each other. Obviously, nowadays that's like big no no, and that wouldn't be allowed. But so it's cool that these rental kids can come out and play and get involved in airsoft. I wish fields would have more guns to rent. I kind of understand it from a financial thing. If you got a bunch of different guns and whatever, they can break. So most of the time, people just have like Tipman or whatever M4s.
yeah,
Um,
the cheapest yet still acceptable, I guess.
yeah, so I get it, but I wish there was more guns for some of the rental kids to pick from. But other than that, I mean, it's cool that they're out and having fun. So I do always try to embrace them, and I always, just try to lead them. Like, hey guys, push over here, or do this, or move up with me. But yeah,
yeah, don't get me wrong. I don't like. It's not like I'm not a fan of new players, right? I would never say that, but
go back where you came from. You're not allowed to play here.
yeah, like just walk up to like an eight, like a, what is it, 13-year-old kid, and just walk up and you're like, you just suck.
You
You're so
suck.
bad. Like we would be better off if you went home, honestly. No, but no, I just think that the only like, especially if it's someone's first time out, there's especially if it's a kid, there's not much I can say to them while on the field that's gonna turn them into an amazing player, right? Their first day out, they're just gonna get the shit shot out of them and kill like five people, right? That's
Hmm.
my opinion, at least. Now, and that's kind of the experience I had. I didn't have any friends going into airsoft. I just kind of decided. Funny story. I decided I was gonna buy some airsoft stuff. Um, I just dropped out of the army, so that wasn't for me. I did not like it at all. Story for another day. Um, and I had sat home for like a month and a half, just working at a fucking jewel. And I was like, all right, I need a hobby. I'm gonna kill myself if I don't, if I just work all day. um, so I found like I think it was Airsoft Station actually, which they just opened a local store. I bought like an AEG mystery box, and they sent me like an old fucking. I bought two actually because they're like $80 a piece. I got an old combat machine, and I got a JG like 416 thing. Both of which were bad guns. Neither of them worked properly when I got them, which I should have
Was that the
complained.
mystery?
Yeah, it was like the used or like store modeled mystery box where it's like, hey, we'll give you a rifle that's worth at least 150 for $80 was the deal. And fucking retard me was like, well, I can just buy two of those for 160 and then have two guns worth 150 bucks. And then the first day I go, it's like, well, the combat machine shoots at 100 feet per second, so that's pretty much unusable. And I played for like 4 times at PBX with that 416, and by the last time I played there, like I chronoed it at 86 feet per second, and I was just like, well, I guess I'll just use this for the day. Uh, that day was crazy because I had to run within like 15 feet of people to hit them.
Oh,
um,
God.
but okay, yeah, yeah, I remember where I was going. First time I played airsoft was actually at getting the name already, Badlands, the one that Red Dawn's at, and
Okay. Yeah.
this is slowly going back to the question. Don't worry. Um, I went there for my first time and brought brought both guns. And there was like 8 people there. Um, half of There's like 8 people there, or maybe closer to 12, right? But 6 of them were from the Philippines and did not speak English at all. So, so the poor ref that was there um, had to have been like 28 years old. Kind of a weird dude, but whatever. Most people who play airsoft are.
Of
Uh,
course.
uh, and so like the entire day he'd be like, fellas, we're gonna go to the field now, okay? We're gonna head out and to this field here, and they would speak their made up language back to him, and he'd be like, I don't know what you're saying, but that's what we're gonna do, okay? um, but yeah, I went there, and like the first day I played airsoft was like the exact same day I got dumped from like a 2-year relationship.
Oh, God.
So literally, I was like prepping my shit at like 10 p.m. the previous night, and I get a text, and this chick's like, "Oh, I just don't think it's working out anymore," and I was like, "Well, shit. Well, I'm still gonna go play airsoft. I mean, I've spent like $300, so this must have been like 2017. Yeah, yeah. I went out there, and the way they played it there with the open play, I much preferred because it was like all the maps pretty small for one, because they cut up, you know, like one map might just be that little area with the buildings, right? That was the map. We didn't go outside of there, etc. And with 12 people, that's a pretty decent little area to run around and shoot people at. Um, I hate that field though as an event field. I don't like playing there as an event. The only reason I go is because my friends go. It is
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you there.
like if I didn't have any friends going, I just would not go because like I don't know. I think like Sherwood's a good example of a good event field. There's a ton of fucking space, plenty of room to flank. You know, unlike Badlands, you don't just get trapped in one area for 2 hours, right?
Yep, that's 100% right. And the thing is, even I wish there were a few more buildings or structures at Sherwood, but it is a really good field. There are some structures, and you can kind of strategically move around. But it's kind of known to be like, okay, this is a forest, so that's kind of what you're getting into.
Right.
But I agree, 100%.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess answering the question, PBX is definitely one of my favorites. I think it's tied with Black Ops though, and there's a couple of reasons. Mainly, they're different styles of play for the most part, right? Um, Black Ops is one giant map almost all of the time, whereas PBX is a bit more like playing Call of Duty, right? Where you get a set area that you can't go outside of. Um, you don't have to walk far to respawn. Like if you sprint on those maps, most of the time you can be back in the game within less than a minute, right?
Yeah,
Uh, Black Ops to me, I really like, and this is the reason I really like Milsim. I like the tension building where you're slowly not getting kills, right, but you're slowly pushing onto an objective, and then you finally get there after maybe an hour or so of fighting, and you finally make that push into this large building or something, and most of you are gonna die. That's very exciting to me. That's kind of
dying is very exciting to you.
no, just the tension of it, right? Where it's like we've been working at this for like an hour now, and especially when he does the Wilson days where he'll have trucks running and there's a ton of people there. and you're fighting into like, for example, the one time I was there on one of the Wilson days, we were fighting in the forest most of the day, and the objective was the hospital building, which is one of the larger buildings there. Um, and after like an hour and a half, we get up onto the wall of the hospital building, and there's maybe like 30 of us, and we don't know how many's inside, but this is the objective of the day. And everyone's stacking up. You get like 30 seconds just to kind of mentally prepare yourself to run into the room. Um, yeah, it's exciting. That I guess I don't know. Like, I'm much more of a CQB kind of person. I love the like my ideal airsoft field would be like bigger than power, but like an indoor arena that has a ton of space and lots of like buildings to and obstacles and whatnot to sprint around and whatnot, lanes, all that stuff, and just kind of no rules basically, except for call your hits. That like pyro going off, explosives.
Yeah.
That's my kind of thing. Where you're maybe you're fighting over a hallway and there's like 20 of you in the hallway and like people are getting shot left and right. It's frantic, it's frenzied, desperate even. That's what I like.
You like desperate?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. So at PBX, what is the map that is they have the indoor section with the chicken coop, and then there's the rest of it is the field.
Okay. So I don't know why when we were there that day, everyone was calling it the chicken coop, which really threw me off. We call that the arcade, and we have for years. That was the first time I've gone to the field and heard someone call it chicken coop. But
I've always called it chicken coop since I've been there.
oh, okay. Well, yeah,
I don't know, man.
I think that's Biohazard.
Okay, Biohazard, yes. So the thing is, I think Biohazard is one of the best maps really I've ever played on, like or fields you could say, and that's including the stuff at Legacy too, because it's like you have like kind of what you're talking about. You have the CQB indoor, part which is you know the main building where it has just whatever plywood separated hallways and sections, and then you know you get that CQB feel in there, and then also when you exit from either sides you can also look at the arcade or the chicken coop from there. So and you have a little bit of CQB stuff in there, not as much, but that's why I really like that field because you have the outdoor side of it. You can go up through the forest, and then you also have the buildings and the structure. So that field is I really like that field. That's probably my favorite field out of everywhere.
Yeah, I feel it's up there for me. I think my favorite is oh god, I'm gonna get it wrong. For whatever reason, my head is saying it's Turmoil, the one with the helicopter and the bus at one end. With the
Yes, yes,
That one I
that
really
is
like.
another fun field.
And the reason I like that one is because it's gotten to the point where it's kind of like playing Call of Duty for me, and I'm like, an MLG pro player, and I know exactly where to go to shoot a bunch of people. So it's like literally, it's like people will be like, "What do we do in this game?" And I was like, we're going into that forested area and pushing their spawn. That's what we do every time."
I mean, so that field, I have a lot of fun if off the start, like, and I think me and you did it when we went. We just pushed up.
Yeah, we got a good
You know,
position.
yeah. I mean, you push up and you get in a good position, but if the problem for me is once I got hit the first time and I respawned, I was never really able to get back to that position because people had the right side locked down. The middle is always chaotic and there's people in the bus and stuff. So, but if you get to a good position on that field, it's real fun to like watch across the way. You can watch the side view, make sure nobody crosses past the middle, and then also you got people on the other side of that structure that we were in, and
Yeah,
also the right side too. So that's real fun if you get in position on that field.
yeah. And if anyone that's listening plays at PBX, here's the go-to strat. So we were at this little window. Um, the way you want, I'm not going to be able to describe it to people who haven't been there, right? But way you want to go is either go through like the gas station where that door is and just sprint and hope you don't get shot to the window, uh, which is what I do most of the time, and it works maybe 40% of the time. Um, or like kind of what me and you did, where we both peeked the corner at the same time to try to get some of those bunker down enemies out. And I mean, it's a struggle. Don't get me wrong. Like that corner is, you have to fucking fight for that thing. I mean,
Yeah, I mean it's I like that I like that field. Um, and even when you're starting on, I don't know the directional aspect of it, but the where the bus is,
right.
or actually
The
there's two
downhill
buses actually, right?
on that map, I thought I think there's just one.
Or okay, so that what is that? The plane then, or the helicopter
Yes.
that's on uphill? Okay, yeah, you're right. So yeah, on the bus side, if you start on that side, normally what I like to do is I like to just push up in the middle, where those like half buildings are or whatever, and then I will kind of like lock down the middle area. So you kind of got a lot of action going on because you got people trying to push up from the left side, and then on the right side, people will be deep in the forest. And then you also got to worry about people getting up to the structure where you're at, just on the other side,
Right.
right in front of you. So there's a lot going on if you get in the middle. So that's kind of what I like to do on the bus side.
Yeah, on the bus side, I pretty much exclusively go on the right, just to the right of those buildings. Um, Fight there for a while, and almost every single time there'll be an opportunity to push up into that building that's like kind of looks like it's collapsed over a car. You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, because you were there. I
Yeah,
remember. Yeah,
that's where I go every time, literally every time.
and it's far. It's far up the map. I mean, you're almost on their side when you're in that building.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, you have a clear line of sight in their spawn, which is a little dangerous. But I mean, if you just peek it just right, um, you can see kind of like just barely behind the helicopter and completely in front of it.
Oh yeah, okay. That's a
So
good angle then on the helicopter.
yeah, and anyone that's pushing up to the gas station building, you can shoot. Um, yeah, it's a great spot.
Mm.
Another one, which is basically the same angle but a little bit better, is right by where the net is, or where the net usually is. I think they had them up that day. You can kind of just kind of prone crawl up the hill, and there's a couple boxes there at the top, kind of to the right of that big concrete cylinder, and you can just kind of half crouch up and like prop your gun on the box, and you can just see everything. Uh, Granted, it's a little bit of a dangerous spot. It's very easy to get shot and killed from there, but yeah, yeah. No, PVX is a good field. They have some they have some issues for sure. Like they can't maintain their field properly is the main one. Like I don't know if you've ever played on the parking lots before they tore like half of it down.
On the parking lots?
Yeah.
No, I wasn't even aware that that was a thing.
So it's not in the parking lot. It's just what we call it. It's like the big map that's on the asphalt. They have the pirate ship, and no, not ringing a
No,
bell.
I
Okay.
have never. Nope.
So it used to be that map. So that map for paintball was originally three separate maps, which was Mutiny, World at War, and I forget the name of the last one. But basically, on one side of the spawn, you had like a little like French village kind of town. I mean, it was all plywood, right? But it was, a lot of very small buildings and World at War, right? Supposed to be like a World War II theme thing. In the middle, you had like
Hmm.
a giant pirate ship along with another boat, like an actual boat, and some other stuff that you could go into. And the last one was mainly, it's been so long, but it's mainly empty now. I don't remember what it looked like, sadly. But yeah, apparently like a year ago, there was strong winds and blew down a couple of the buildings. So they just tore down all of World at War, which is the best part of the map because there's a ton of buildings there. Um, and they just tore the entire thing down, and then I guess they don't have plans to rebuild it, and now they just don't do the parking lot fields at all. Um,
Well,
when we were there, they didn't do Nuketown, and not because people didn't want to, but because apparently the second floor is just like all rotted out, and it's not safe.
well, I will definitely give a shout out to Legacy because they really worked on their fields for the opening day. On Carnage, there used to be a lot of like debris and sticks and whatever, and they really cleaned out all of their fields, including Carnage. So you were actually able to run through a lot of the fields and stuff like that. So it is definitely a factor when you're talking about making sure the fields are clean and
Safe.
safe. Yeah, it definitely does make me feel a lot better when I see stuff like that going on. So I'm glad they were able to clean their fields up and fix some of that stuff.
Yeah, I still gotta make it down to Legacy. Haven't been there yet.
Yeah, we gotta do it. I'll film on the GoPro and we gotta make some stuff,
Do they
make some
uh
videos.
do they allow LMGs there? Do I get full auto if I bring a light machine gun?
You do get full. Actually, when we played yesterday, they were actually allowing full auto for most of the games, and that's why they were measuring, the RPS. So, but I think a couple of the games on certain fields they said no full auto, but if you have a actual LMG, they will let you full
Okay.
auto.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the rounds per second. I have never tuned my guns to go anything past the mid 30s. I don't see the point, right? Um, sorry, you sound like you're gonna say something.
No, I was actually, because I basically, I recently, I guess I'll just say, I mean, I basically paid about $700 for my Firehawk for all the work that I had done to it recently, and it's a lot of money,
Yeah.
and so I was looking up um, some of the RPS stuff because I really didn't really pay attention to any RPS stuff. Like what's the standard, what's the average, all that stuff. And when I was looking and researching into some of it, I saw that there's a certain level, and I don't know exactly what it is. It could be 50, it could be 40. I'm not sure what it is, but after a certain you know rate, um, the BBs will actually hit each other in midair, depending on how fast they cycle. So there's like a certain limit to it. Like I don't know what it would be, fizzy. Uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Uh,
Physics? Physics?
yeah, like just physics. Yeah. So there's a certain like limit on how fast the RPS can be. Because the BBs will actually start hitting each other in midair. So I thought that was that. This is another interesting thing that I kind of researched and learned.
Yeah, so I think most stock guns are shooting mid 20s in RPS. Higher end goes a little bit higher, but most of them keep it around there at like 26, 28, 30 is from what I've noticed at least. And
So like 30 is like top end.
30 would be probably like closer to my Crytax and whatnot, your $300 plus guns. And
Gotcha.
not even all of them for that matter. Like the PKM that I'm going to get, even with an 11.1 stock, it's going to shoot at its fastest probably at like 28 BBs a second, which is pretty standard. A lot of guns shoot at 28 BBs a second. Um,
Well, I something else I learned just this year was, obviously everyone knows, it's, um, you know, what is it, 7.4 volt, and then you have 9.6, and I think it's 8.4.
8.4 as well. Yep.
Yeah, and then you have the 11 ones, which is like what everybody uses. And so, I was researching, okay, everyone has an 11 battery. Is there a higher voltage that we can use? I really wanted to like push the limits with my Firehawk. And one of the things I learned was that um, you know, there are higher voltage batteries, but you're really not going to use those. Um, but one of the things I learned is the discharge rate, which is the C rating.
Hmm.
So, I just learned that, like the drone batteries, they'll be 120 C. That'll be their C rating. And so that's just the dissipation or the, you know, uh, push rate of the electricity from the battery to your motor. And so yeah, those most airsoft batteries are that are 11-1 will be 20, 25C, 30C, 35C. But I was actually considering getting a drone battery for my Firehawk to see really how fast this thing can actually shoot. So I'm actually in the process of getting a new battery for my gun, and I may be getting a drone battery for it. So we'll see maybe in the next podcast how that turns out.
Yeah, I know some dudes run RC batteries. I've seen
Same
people.
thing.
Yeah, I've seen people take like actual like M4 pouches and mount them to their stock, and then just put a giant battery in there. Um, that's actually somewhat common for whatever reason. There's a lot of people that do that. Um, yeah, no, I think I don't know. So the PKM, which I've mentioned before, obviously that I'm looking at buying is $460. Uh, which is no small amount of money, right? It's not extraordinarily expensive, but it's a decent amount. Um, and I'm just looking into upgrades. I decided that I have an M4 gearbox here that I'm gonna tech on first and see if I can make a functioning gun myself before I touch any of the stuff I like. Um, but yeah, that's something I think I'm gonna try to get into is building up my gearboxes by myself because I don't know. I don't like Mir's tech work. I think they tend to do a bad job, just personally speaking.
I've never had a problem with Mirror, and in fact, Mirror were the ones who actually fixed my AUG where Evike couldn't.
Mm.
Um, But I was going to ask, so like on your PKM, I mean, if you were going to upgrade things, I mean, what are you looking to upgrade? I mean, is like the barrel the most important thing, or like your bucking, or like what would you like to do on your PKM in terms of like upgrades?
I think the first thing I would do would be probably external. I'd buy like a sight mount, probably some railed grips, right? So I could put all my cool guy stuff on it.
Okay.
Um, but after that, I would say probably barrel and just the hop up itself because it's a popular enough gun to where they make CNC'd hop ups and all the parts basically they have upgrades for. Um, like I said, like my 249. Pretty much all my guns are stock. Um, so take what I say with a grain of salt. I'm not one for haven't been one for upgrading a ton up until recently. But yeah, barrel, hop up, bucking, hop up nub, all that stuff I can do on my own. I don't really.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean it's so easy. It's so easy. You could do it. It's it's literally you take
I'm gonna come to you for all my tech work now.
you take your little metal barrel, you slide your bucking over it, and then you put your hop up on over that, and that's
I got a lot of stuff going on in my life, and it's just one of those things where I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna take it in. I mean, it would definitely be cool to learn how to, do a lot of this stuff, but I work, I'm in IT. I work on computers, and computers are normal size, but when you're talking about working on like very, very small things or small screws and that sort of stuff, I don't have a lot of patience for. So
I
I'm
see.
sure I could do it, but I just I'd rather just, you know, Mir wants $35 an hour to work on my gun. I'll let you work on it for 10 hours. Uh, I can't do it myself. It'd frustrate me too much.
Yeah, no. I think personally for me, I think accuracy is always the main upgrade I want to go for, and pretty much anything you do in the gearbox, there's only two things you can achieve by working on your gearbox, and that is better trigger response and a faster fire rate. Not going to affect your accuracy at all. That's all barrel and hop up.
Hmm.
So what I'm thinking I'll do is barrel hop up all that stuff first, and then if I feel like it, I might put. I mean, the thing already has a MOSFET in it, but I might put a better one in it, right? And just I'm more worried about trigger response than fire rate, right? I don't want to. I want my gun to shoot basically as soon as I pull the trigger.
Well, I don't. It just seems like if you have like a 249 or PKM or something, Like to me, it just seems like it would be like super reliable, or it would be very like, like unbreakable almost, which I know is probably not true.
Actually,
But
the 249s are known for just working. And
good. Okay, so yeah, I mean that's what I would assume just from not owning one. So that's why I kind of wanted to ask what you would do to it, because I assumed it was very reliable, would last. You could be fine, but I didn't know if like maybe the accuracy lacked a little bit or fire rate.
yeah, I mean, it's pretty much just like any other airsoft gun. It's just heavier and you get to shoot full auto, right? The 249s are known for being really robust. Like the gearboxes are literally a tank. Like they're much thicker than they need to be to hold the spring that's in it, right? They're kind of overbuilt per se.
Cool.
Um, and they're one of the few guns that's not an M4 that has a quick change spring. Um, very easy to do that. There's all videos on YouTube and stuff people can look up if they want. But yeah, I've had that gun for at least a year and a half, and I've never had to do anything to it.
Well, that's good. Now, is this the one you bought at Pandora's Box, or was that a different one?
That was the G&G LMG, which Ryan has now. I sold it to him.
Oh, okay.
Um, that gun was decent. I would have like literally it was an impulse purchase where I was like, I didn't bring my light machine gun. I need a light machine gun, so I'll just buy one. And I only lost like $40 on the whole deal after I sold it to Ryan. He gave me a good price for it. So, but no, like if you, I really recommend the 249s. They're considerably lighter than so the peak AM loaded is 22 pounds, and it's like 4.5 feet long. It's huge. Granted, it has such a long barrel that you could almost even more than the 249. Like the 249, I can almost snipe with, and it's not because it's accurate. It's just I can just keep shooting and kind of have accuracy by volume, right?
Yeah.
The PKM is just that, but better. It's more accurate because it has a longer inner barrel. Now
So,
go ahead.
oh no, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. Well, all I was gonna say is that the best way to achieve accuracy is a tighter inner barrel, but a longer one. To my knowledge, I'm not an expert. Is also, uh, yeah.
Um, so I want you to do something, and it's up to you whether you want to just record your reaction, or if you want to actually show everybody this. But I want you to go to Evike, and I want you to look up vector. And after you search vector, I want you to sort the results from high to low. And I want you to look at the very first.
Oh yeah, it's like thousands of dollars, isn't it? I think I know
Well,
yeah, 5 grand. Yeah.
so my buddy actually bought a vector, like I said, and the first thing I want to say is I believe he bought one of the limited edition ones, but the barrel is like very long. It's like basically same size, if not longer, as like a standard M4, or like a Lancer Tactical M4 or something like that. But when we were looking up some of the vector parts and stuff like that were available.
Is that the one?
Um, let's see.
Or is it longer than that still?
Oh no, so did you search vector and did high to low?
Yeah, no, I have the one that's super long. I was asking about the one your
Okay,
buddy
okay.
has.
Uh, let me see. Yes. Uh, I believe this is it. Yes, but it didn't come with that little sight on there. But yeah, I believe that is the one.
Yeah,
Oh, actually, wait. Yes, yeah, that that is the one. But why does that look strange? Maybe it's not the one, because it has that. Uh, I can't tell. It is a limited edition one. I can't tell from that
okay. Yeah,
picture though.
that Vector, that 5 grand one, I guarantee you they made like two of them and just haven't sold them because no one in their right mind would buy that.
So did you show everybody that gun or did you
Yeah,
not?
it's up on the screen right now. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So I just wanted to have it in there if you could because it's just like actually my buddy thought it was a joke. He was like that's not a real gun. I'm like no, that's that's a real gun they're selling.
Yeah, they apparently they unveiled it at SHOT Show 2018, and they can't sell like. First of all, it's not worth 5 grand, right?
Yeah,
It's
number
clearly
1.
not. Yeah. If you were to machine that rail yourself, even which I'm, and just buy a longer barrel, it would cost you a couple $100 probably, maybe 400 at the most. But even then, you're still at like a grand to have all this just custom made and put on. I mean, because to my knowledge, looking at here, it's just internally stock. There's nothing special about the gun itself. It's just a really long vector.
So if they're saying this gun is um 14 1400 millimeters, how many inches is that or how many feet is that, do you know?
The one I'm looking at now,
The 5 grand one.
that's strange. It says length. Oh, that must be because it folds, right?
Oh yeah, that's probably why, yeah, because it does fold.
Let me pull it up. I can just do it real quick.
Because I just want to know for
That
context
would
how
be
long this could be.
57 inches long,
You're holding a small child as you go out into the battlefield.
which hold on, I'll just pull up the gun I'm looking at too. They sell much more expensive versions of what I'm looking at. Um, like LCT, for example, makes a PKP, which is just it's the same gun. The carry handle's different, right? It's slightly modernized, and that one's $900, over 1,000 with tax. I'm pulling up the length of the PKM to inches. It's not.
Yeah, because those are long too.
It's 46 inches long, so that vector's longer than the PKM. Alrighty, well,
Oh man.
I think I think on that note we can call it a show. Um, I'm just gonna head to bed here. I got work, so anything to plug in here at the end?
No, not really. I mean, Legacy is open. I'd like you to come to Legacy with me next time. Obviously I'm not being paid by Legacy to say that or anything, but it's just a cool field and it's close by my house, so maybe next time we can go airsofting Legacy and we can talk about that on the next show.
Yeah, sounds like a plan. We'll do. Alrighty. See you, folks.